Hey gang, it's Clayton Sandell. We are live from Denver at the Bluff Lake Nature Center here for the super blue blood moon eclipse. It is about 34 degrees here when I last checked, so it's very chilly, but as you can see, we've got plenty of hardcore astronomy fans here who have come out. They had about 300 or so people sign up to participate here today, and you can see sort of the city lights of Denver beyond me here. We're actually up on the top of a very high cliff, about 100 feet here, and you can see, maybe Tony can zoom in, you can see the moon is starting to disappear and actually turn a little bit red. At about 5:50 is when it enters the full shadow of the Earth here, and I don't know if you can tell, but it is actually already starting to turn a little bit red. And if you come this way with me, I want to just introduce you to some folks who were here very, very early. Here they are. Oh. All right, good morning, guys. Good morning. Wanted to introduce you guys to Emerson and Reed, brother and sister here, and Ryan, their dad. Good morning, guys. How are you? So tell me, you guys were some of the first people we saw here this morning coming out to see this eclipse. How excited are you to see it?
I was so excited because it was going to be a bunch of different moons, and I wanted to see how fast it was going to go down.
Yeah. And what's it been like to watch it disappear this morning? It's slowly, the moon's been going away.
Yeah, and it was weird and cool. I liked it.
What do you think, Reed? How cool is this?
Really cool.
Yeah?
What?
What do you like about it?
Because it's red, and that's one of my favorite.
That is really cool. Yeah, red is fun. Now, Ryan, you brought him out there this morning. Why was it important to come out here so early? You guys were here really early.
Yeah. So she's been learning about all the different phases of the moon at school, and her teacher was getting everyone to come out here. So she got all excited about that and said, "Hey, Dad, can we wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning?" I'm like, "Sure."
Maybe.
Anything to come see this. So it was a good experience. And
maybe have fun, a good nap time later, right?
Yes, yeah.
All right.
A little nap before we go back to school.
Well, thank you guys. Enjoy the eclipse, okay?
Yeah.
All right, thanks for chatting with us.
All right, thank you.
Cool. All right, so
People on TV.
bye, guys. All right, so one guy I wanted to introduce you to, I'm a big fan of here. Let's see where he is. There he is Phil Plait. You guys may know him as the Bad Astronomer on Twitter. He also writes for sci-fi.com, and it's SYFY, right?
SYFY.com.
SYFY.com writes the Bad Astronomy column. So it's been kind of fun. We've been watching the moon slowly disappear this morning.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun watching it. Actually, I live about an hour north of here, so coming down in the car, every couple of minutes I can glance out the window and see a little bit more of the moon getting eaten up.
And cool. Where are we right now in the phase? We're almost...
We are this close
right
to being total, yeah.
We're starting to see a little bit of the red, and
yeah.
it'll go full red, right?
Yeah, pretty soon, and literally in a couple of minutes. Yeah.
And we were talking yesterday. Tell me a little bit about why we get this red color, this deep red color.
This is one of my favorite parts about a lunar eclipse. And what's happening is the moon is orbiting the Earth, and it's moving into the Earth's shadow. I mean, the Earth is always blocking the sun from some vantage point in space, and it just so happens that the moon is moving into that. So once it's fully in the Earth's shadow, and the moonlight itself is very dim, the only light that's hitting the moon is getting filtered through the Earth's atmosphere. So if you're standing on the moon and looking up, you're seeing the Earth blocking the sun, and the Earth's atmosphere is going to be lit in a ring all around our planet. Well, if you think about the geometry, that means that anybody standing in that ring is either seeing the sun rising or the sun setting.
Right.
And so what you're seeing is all of the sunrises and all of the sunsets on the Earth at the same time.
Projected on the moon.
That's right. And so the ring looks red, just like when the sun is setting it looks red, and that red light is what's lighting up the moon, and that's why it turns this blood red.
Incredible. Now, we should probably explain why this is such a big deal. We've got three things all coming together, which you're saying are not that uncommon in themselves, but what do we got going on here?
Well, each one of these things happens relatively common. It's just that when you take all three of them and put them together, it's not that often.
And the three things are?
Well, first of all, just a lunar eclipse, and those happen a couple of times a year on average, something like that. So it's not uncommon, but just doesn't happen every day.
Right.
Also, this is happening when the moon happens to be at the point in its orbit closest to Earth. It's called perigee, because the moon orbits the Earth on an ellipse, and so sometimes it's farther away and sometimes it's closer. And we're about a day after that. So that happens every 1 out of every 10 times, something like that. So again, it's more rare.
Right.
And then the third thing is that this is what we call a blue moon. It's a nickname.
Right.
It just means the second full moon in a calendar month. So it takes the moon about 27 days to go around the Earth. And so in January, we had a full moon right after New Year's. And so now today, on the 31st, we're getting another full moon. So it's a blue moon.
But it's been a long time since all three of those things happened at the same time.
That's right. I've been looking around, and the last time I can see that this happened, pretty much like this configuration, was 150 years ago.
Wow.
So,
Yeah.
Civil War era, that sort of time.
Andrew
So it's been
Johnson
a
was
while.
president. Jesse
Yeah.
James was robbing trains, that sort of
Yeah.
thing. Yeah, yeah,
It was
okay.
a long, long time ago.
And so this is rare, and it's interesting too because a solar eclipse, we saw that back in August, but you had to be in a very specific place and see
Right.
it at a very specific time. This is a lunar eclipse is almost like an eclipse for the rest of us.
Yeah, with a solar eclipse, the moon is casting its shadow on the Earth, and that shadow's relatively narrow. If you're not in that shadow, you don't see it.
You don't see it,
If
yeah.
you're a mile outside that shadow to the north or south, you're losing out. So you have to be in a specific place at a specific time. The beauty of a lunar eclipse is that it's the Earth's shadow on the moon. So if you can see the moon, you can see the eclipse. Now, the moon doesn't care which part of the Earth is facing it or not. It just cares that it's behind the Earth and blocking the sun.
Right.
So it just so happens that the United States is more or less facing the moon, and we get to see it at least right before sunrise. There's another
very
eclipse
cool,
in July. We're facing the wrong way. It's going to be up during the day
We won't
for
see
us.
it.
We're facing the sun, not the moon, so we lose it. But then next year, again in January, there will be an even better one where the lunar eclipse will last all night. So for us in the United States, we get a perfect view of it.
But for this one, pretty much everybody in all 50 states gets
Yeah.
at least some of this eclipse.
That's right.
But you got to be out west to really see the best.
Yeah, the way it works is it's happening out in space, so it's happening all at one time. And so where you are in your time zone depends on whether you're going to see it or not. So on the East Coast, the eclipse had just started when the moon was setting and the sky was getting light. We're here 2 hours to the west in Denver. The sky is still dark, although it's getting a little bit
Starting to get a little bit lighter, yeah.
And we're just getting totality right now, from what I can see.
Yeah.
And the moon will set right around the time totality ends,
Okay.
which is I've never seen. So that might be pretty neat. The sun might be lighting up the mountains, and we'll get that beautiful eclipse moon right behind it. We'll see.
And we've talked about a lot of colors, the blood red moon, the blue moon. You were talking about something called the black moon, which is interesting, next month,
Yeah,
right?
this is a new term to me. I mean, blue moon is just a nickname. The moon's
Yeah,
not really
right,
blue.
right.
It is red. It's turning red now.
Yep.
And a black moon is just a nickname for a month without a full moon. And that kind of has to happen this time.
Right.
We had a full moon early January. 27 days later, here we are with another full moon, January 31st. February only has 28 days.
Right.
And so we're not going to see another full moon until March 1st, I think.
Okay.
So February does not have a full moon in it, and that's just the nickname for that is a black moon.
A black moon. Okay, great. Curious, if we were standing then on the moon, what would
Right.
we be seeing?
You'd be seeing a solar eclipse. If you were standing on the moon, you'd be dead. Okay, let's get that established right away. So
good
you're in
spacesuit,
your
yeah.
spacesuit and everything, and you're looking at, and as the eclipse starts, what you're actually seeing is the sun in the sky, and the Earth is starting to move in front of the moon. And when the Earth just starts blocking, excuse me, I said that wrong, didn't
Yeah.
I? The Earth is blocking the sun.
Right.
When that just starts to happen, where you're standing, you'll see it get a little bit darker. Not a lot, because the sun is still up,
Right.
and it's only a little bit being blocked. From the Earth, we would see that as a partial eclipse. The moon is
Okay.
starting to dim. And then as the Earth blocks more and more of the sun, it gets darker and darker. And then where you're standing, the Earth completely blocks the sun. That's a total solar eclipse. And what we would see here is sort of the blood red lunar landscape there, which is what we're seeing now.
That's excellent. Okay, so we got totality in about, full totality in about a half an hour, right? And then it'll set before it comes out of totality for us.
Yeah, I think totality lasts a little over an hour.
A little over an
and
hour, which is
15
great.
minutes, I think,
Okay.
something like that. Yeah.
Terrific. Phil Plait, the Bad Astronomer, thank you very much
Thank
for
you.
joining us. You can catch Phil on Twitter, Bad Astronomer, right?
Bad Astronomer.
At Bad Astronomer, and on sci-fi.com writes the Bad Astronomy column. So we've got all these folks out here waiting, and thank you for joining us. We will be back in a little while. Take care.
Hi everyone, George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.